That's secure to 989898. Take a stand for your financial future. Text secure to 989898 right now to receive your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group.
Message and data rates may apply.
What defines Ohio? A place that dares to go first and never looks back. There's no slowing us down. At Jobs Ohio, our mission is clear. Strengthen job opportunities and empower Ohio's workforce. Another reason why Ohio is now ranked the #1 state for business by CNBC. This is what unstoppable feels like. We did it together, Ohio. Our time is now. See Ohio's momentum at jobsohio.com/Ohio's time.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. See Lance Roofing and Siding at their new location at 6903 Dayton Springfield Road in Enon. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722. Online at lanceroofing.com.
Progressive knows that boat days can come with unexpected problems.
It's been a tough Saturday in the lake. I ordered swim trunks in this orange cream color, but it's actually more orange auburn. Oh, and it's swimwear. I probably can't even return these.
If a real problem comes along, your boat's protected 24/7 with Progressive, so you can keep worrying about boater problems. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, not available in D.C.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
Exactly, Stephen A. He's been here for 10 years, and we're still trying to figure him out. The Justin Kenner Show, weekdays at 3 p.m., right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. You want hot takes?
No, I'm not going to apologize to Ryan Day. Everything we said about Ryan Day up into the playoffs was true.
Not bad. Come on, Kenner. You can do better than that.
To be fair, of all the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, Joe Burrow is the least accomplished.
Getting better.
1,000,000%. I 1,000,000% believe that the Dayton Flyers are afraid of the Wright State Raiders. That's why they come up with every excuse in the book not to play them.
There it is. The hottest take of them all. It's the Justin Kenner Show, presented by Frickers, live on 1410 ESPN Radio.
The Cleveland Browns are a quarterback away, they say. Some say. I don't know if I'm saying it, but some are saying it. Mina Kimes, to be exact. We welcome you in. It's the Justin Kenner Show here on a Wednesday. The Justin Kenner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun food, sports, and spirits. The week is, well, speeding along. Tomorrow we kick off the 2026 high school football season right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Alter and Fairmont, the Battle of Kettering. Josh Copeland and Adam Campbell will be on the call for you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock right here on 1410 ESPN Radio for the complete schedule. We'll have that available at wingam.com, so go and check that out. But it's kind of wild that we're officially ready to kick off football season. And not just practices and preseason games and joint practices and all the stuff that we're talking a lot about when it comes to college and the NFL. The real thing kicks off tomorrow night, high school, and we'll have it for you right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. But I want to open up the hour with some NFL talk. Mina Kimes, I came across this on social media earlier. She was on NFL Today, one of the NFL, one of the shows on ESPN, and said this about the Cleveland Browns, basically talking about the youth on the roster, the youth when it comes to their playmakers, and then ending it with they're a quarterback away from what?
These young Browns skill players are fun. They are ahead of schedule in the rebuild of everything around the quarterback. Obviously, Judkins and Fannin were excellent last season. Casey Concepcion was my number one takeaway from this game. So much juice with the ball in his hands. Yeah. By the way, speaking of hands, made a tough catch, contact balance, reminded me of Jalen Waddle, who I compared him to in the pre-draft process. This has the opportunity to be a really talented young core. They really are a quarterback away. I feel that way.
Really are a quarterback away. Mina Kimes says she really feels that way. And of course, she's getting lit up on social media. What exactly are where exactly are the Browns a quarterback away from? Look, I do think that if you do fill in, if you have that blank at the end, the Browns are a quarterback away from. What are they a quarterback away from exactly? The problem is when we say things like that, like, man, that team's really good. If you drop a quarterback in there, they're set. That's you. Like when people say you're a quarterback away, that's what they mean. Is that what they mean when they say Cleveland's a quarterback away? Think about it. I mean, Cleveland doesn't have any definitive number one wide receiver options on that team. They drafted Concepcion and Boston. It's really tough. And as much as I like Concepcion and Boston, I'm not naive enough to think that the Browns have drafted their Jamar Chase. Like I don't think that there was a generational wide receiver in this draft by any means. But I do know that the bar was so low for playmakers for the Cleveland Browns in recent years that, yes, this team is going to be head and shoulders better when it comes to the playmakers that they have. So I do think that this team is going to be drastically better than a year ago, but we all know that the straw that stirs the drink is the quarterback position. But, okay, if you put a good quarterback on this Browns team, what does that do? To say that the Browns are a quarterback away means you are saying that they are a quarterback away from being a legit threat. Is that the case for this Cleveland Browns team? You have Concepcion, who looked really good in the preseason opener. It's preseason. You have Boston, who you also drafted out of Washington. You look at this team. They don't, their leading receiver from a year ago was their tight end and Harold Fannin Jr., who I really like. I really like Harold Fannin Jr. I really like Concepcion. I really like Boston. I really like Quinshon Judkins. I think Sampson complements those two. I still think that the Browns need to get a veteran running back in this group. Nick Chubb, they need a veteran back in some capacity to complement the likes of those guys. I don't think they have a lot of depth there. But I find it fascinating to say that the Browns are a quarterback away if you're Mina Kimes. Now, so is Mina Kimes saying that? Mina Kimes, are you saying that the Cleveland Browns are a quarterback away from being a playoff contender, from being a AFC North championship contender, a Super Bowl contender? What exactly are you saying? Well, she had to clarify. Mina Kimes might have overspoke on Twitter. She had to go and defend herself a little bit. Mina Kimes says this: to be clear, I don't mean they're a quarterback away from immediate contention, but I do think they've already rebuilt the skill group in impressive fashion. Mina Kimes, I don't mean this to be mean because I like Mina Kimes more than most, but I don't know what the hell that means. Hey, they're a quarterback away. A quarterback away from what? Well, not contention. Then what the hell are you talking about? How are you a quarterback away from not being in contention? That doesn't make any sense. The Browns are already not in contention, and they've done that without a quarterback. So how can you be a quarterback away and still not be in contention? Mina Kimes, I get it. It's tough to give the Browns any kind of compliments. I would have respected it more had she just stuck to her guns and say, yes, the Browns are a quarterback away from being competitive, because I actually think that is the case. I think that when you have Concepcion and you have Boston and you have Harold Fannin Jr., you have Quinshon Judkins, you have Sampson, you have that revamped offensive line with a couple former All-Pros. You got one of the best offensive linemen in the draft. The defense, not a bad defense. I know you lose Myles Garrett. The defense is not better without Myles Garrett, but you obviously have Verse, who was a great addition in that trade. I mean, getting him as a part with all the picks as well, I think provided the soft landing of losing a Myles Garrett. This defense is not going to be as good as last year, but it's going to be a defense that continues to get you stops. He's X the run, great secondary. I still think I'm wondering who's going to be that force to consistently get to the quarterback. But outside of that, I think from their secondary to their linebackers to a solid core up front to solid core wide receivers. I love the run game. Offensive line's rebuilt. I just stick to it. Mina Kimes, I'm not pissed at you saying that they're a quarterback away. I'm mad that you kind of retracted it. I'm not saying that they're a quarterback, they're a quarterback away, but not from contention. What are you a quarterback away from then? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't mean any sense. Chad Kinser, he's watching on the Justin Kinner Show YouTube channel. He goes, I'm a Bengals and Browns fan. I didn't know that existed, but welcome. I'm a Bengals and Browns fan. The Bengals need new ownership, and in my opinion, the Browns need everything new owned, under ownership. See, here's where I don't want to get into this debate right now. But I do think that the difference between the Browns and the Bengals ownership is that if the Browns ever do get ownership, they're going to show that they are head and shoulders better ownership group than Cincinnati. But the one thing that Cleveland has failed to do in the entire Haslam era has been to get the quarterback right. They haven't been able to get it right. The Brown family, you got to think about, if you don't stumble across the worst record in football and get rewarded with the Joe Burrow back in 2020, and you're still looking for a quarterback, nobody is sitting here looking at the Brown family saying that that's a great ownership group either. In fact, I don't know what's worse, Cleveland not being able to find a quarterback and have success, or Cincinnati having a quarterback and still not being able to achieve success. I just think that both ownership groups have been bad as far as that's concerned. But yeah, the Mina Kimes thing just cracks me up a bit, because I'm sitting here saying, how in the world, okay, how in the world can you say that they're a quarterback away and then have people jump your case about it and you don't have confidence in it? So then you walk it back and say something silly like, to be clear, I don't mean they're a quarterback away from immediate contention, but I do think they've already, both of these things have nothing to do with anything. Saying that, but to be clear, I think they've already rebuilt the skill group in impressive fashion. Yes, they have. They got 2 first-round graded wide receivers in the with their first 3 picks in last year's draft, and they got the best offensive lineman in the draft and 2 of the best wide receivers in the draft with their first 3 picks. Yes, they've done a good job rebuilding that. They got Harold Fandon Jr. last year, Quinshon Judkins last year, who is borderline the top 10 running back already. We'll see what he does in his sophomore campaign. But this isn't me being a Browns homer. This is an interesting group now. They have playmakers. They had no playmakers last year. Absolutely none. There was nobody out there that, I mean, even if you drop a Joe Burrow would have made better plays, yes, last year for the Browns, no doubt about it. But I mean, there was no playmakers. It doesn't matter who the quarterback was. There's not a quarterback out there that was going to win with the playmakers that were out there. It was not a good group. Not a good group. It didn't pan out. But, you have Jerry Jeudy, who is going to be listed as the team's number 1 wide receiver. 2 years ago was a 1,000-yard wide receiver, looked the part, had some massive games for Cleveland, and I thought that he would have been better last year. He was not. Was that a result of Dylan Gabriel throwing him the football? Was that a result of Shedeur Sanders throwing him the football? Was that a result of just him not being able to play anymore? I don't know. But Casey Concepcion, I think by the end of the year, maybe by the end of preseason, will be the Browns' true number 1 wide receiver. I thought he looked fantastic in the preseason game number 1. And I don't care that it was against number 2s. It was just the way, it was the route running. It was some of the tough catches that he made, just the way he maneuvers his body in the air to go up and get the ball. I think that Concepcion is one heck of a wide receiver. You have Denzel Boston, of course. Isaiah Bond was undrafted, free agent last year that the Browns had a lot of success with. They have depth at the wide receiver position. I just don't, they're still trying to sort out, do they have a number 1 wide receiver? I say this all the time in baseball. People all the time in baseball will say, well, who's that team's ace? Not every team has an ace. Every team has a best pitcher, but not every team has an ace. And I look at the same thing when it comes to football. Who's the Browns' number 1 wide receiver? I don't think they have a wide receiver 1. I think that, they have a best receiver. Who is their best receiver? I don't know. I don't know if they have a number 1 wide receiver. Like Cincinnati, Jamar Chase, that's a number 1 wide receiver. The Vikings, Justin Jefferson, that's a number 1 wide receiver. You go down the list, and the same thing in Baltimore. Zay Flowers is solid. I don't think he's a number 1 wide receiver. I don't think Baltimore has a number 1 wide receiver. I don't. You can look at Pittsburgh and you can look at the talent across their depth chart. I don't necessarily know if they have a number 1. I guess if you want to look at the fact that, when it comes to wide receiver, DK Metcalf, I mean, he's the most accomplished. I think he's ideally supposed to be their number 1. And maybe you can say maybe he is their number 1, but like Michael Pittman Jr., Roman Wilson, they have a bad wide receiver group as well. They have a bad wide receiver group. If Boston and Concepcion come together and shine as rookies in their rookie season, I think you could look at Cleveland and say their receiver group somehow is better than Pittsburgh's. I think Cleveland's running back group is better than Pittsburgh's. Obviously, Pittsburgh has Aaron Rodgers. They have the advantage at quarterback, but whatever that means. What up, Kev? Kev's walking by. That's really what it's going to come down to as far as that. Cleveland with the playmakers, do they have the quarterback, the straw to stir the drink? Mina Kimes saying something crazy. Oh, they're a quarterback away, which is true. They are a quarterback away. You have the playmakers. You have the O-line. You have the run game. You have the defense. Are they Super Bowl contenders? No. Are they better than the Bengals? No. Are they wild card contenders? I think so. I think they can contend, in the wild card. Like I said from the beginning, after the draft, I'm sticking to it. 7 to 9 wins is where I see this team kind of sitting in, it's better than they've been. It's still not like you're not making the playoffs with 9 wins. All right. You're not making the playoffs with 9 wins. It's an improved team. It's a much better team. It's just not a playoff team. yet. But to Mina Kimes' point that she redacted, they are a quarterback away. Because if Deshaun all of a sudden turns into Houston Deshaun, yes, I think this team's a playoff team. As stupid as that sounds, yes, I do. I just don't think that Deshaun's that guy. And I'm out on Shedeur. I was curious about Shedeur. I just don't think that I don't think he has it. You know, everyone out there that tried to say that Kevin Stefanski was against him and stop. A whole new staff is here, and a whole new staff has come in, and they're not even impressed with Shedeur at this point. And this is the staff that technically wanted Shedeur over in Baltimore. So who knows? Let's pick up with this. 937-518-1410. 937-518-1410. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Are the Browns a quarterback away from playoff contention? Do you believe in the rest of this roster? The wide receivers, the run game. The O-line's not top 5 O-line in football, but it's much improved. You have former All-Pros there. You got one of the best O-linemen in the draft last year. The run game, the wide receivers, the defense. Is this team truly a quarterback away? 937-518-1410. Text, call. We'll be right back.
Sound familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems that can keep you up at night, like snoring, aches and pains, or sleeping hot. Our sleep experts have the unrivaled know-how to match you with a mattress that can help. And now at Mattress Firm, save up to $700, plus get a free adjustable base with select Sealy Posturepedic mattresses. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Veterans, were you exposed to harmful burn pit smoke while serving overseas? The Department of Veterans Affairs has recognized and is providing benefits to veterans who suffer with asthma, rhinitis, and sinusitis as a result of burn pit exposure. If you served in the Southwest Asia Theater of Operations or Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Syria, or Djibouti and suffer from any respiratory illnesses that you believe is a result of exposure to burn pits, contact the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Transform your home in one weekend and save big money at Menards. Menards carries Purdy paintbrushes, roller covers, prep tools, pails, kits, and more to help you get the job done right. Purdy brushes have been handcrafted in the USA for over 100 years and are the #1 brand preferred by professionals. Save big on Purdy painting tools now at Menards and get your painting project started today.
Save big money at Menards.
Are you tired of just being a number? Platinum Express in Dayton treats you like family because you are. Now hiring over-the-road company truck drivers, owner-operators, and teams. Platinum Express has no-touch freight ready to move with consistent miles and excellent benefits. Platinum Express has local drivers to assist with load delivery and real dispatchers who pick up the phone. Call Mina at Platinum Express today at 937-604-8250. That's 937-604-8250.
I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46. And I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see their full line of Kubota construction equipment, or check them out online at ColumbusEquipment.com.
Raise your hand if you're excited about feeling older faster than you should. No takers? Yeah, didn't think so. Ongoing pain makes you feel older than you are. But here's the good news. QC Kinetic patients here in Dayton are getting relief, feeling younger, jumping back into life full speed, and it didn't happen in an operating room. The QC Kinetic medical professionals use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science, treatments that take the tiny, powerful healing tools inside your body, concentrate them right where you need relief. That's how Mike is training for a marathon instead of giving up running. Patrick's golf game is on fire again. Kathy walked around Disney with her grandkids. No pain. All real QC Kinetic patients. The sooner you start treatment, the sooner inflammation eases and the sooner joint damage slows down. Because no one signs up for feeling older faster. Find out if you're a candidate for QC Kinetic regenerative treatments. Your visit and consultation is free. 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
Cordell Transportation is looking for more weekend warriors. If you have a Class A CDL and would like to make some extra money casually driving weekend daytime routes, then Cordell Transportation is looking for you. Home daily, all loads round trip, no touch freight, and competitive pay. Full-time routes could become available if you're interested. Drive weekends at Cordell Transportation. Apply at CordellTransportation.com or call Ron at 937-277-7271. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
When you're vacationing in your RV, there are some things you can always count on. Quality time with the family, watching for shooting stars, and your cousin's need to take a photo of everything.
Scooch closer to the grill. You're out of the shot. I love the lighting here. Mark, you're blinking again. I'm not moving. You guys have to move. This one's blurry. Wait, don't take a bite of the corn. I want to get a pic.
With Progressive, your RV is protected 24/7, so you're prepared for whatever you don't see coming.
I'm just taking a picture of the grill. Thank you.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in D.C.
1410 Wing AM, Dayton's ESPN Radio, powered by
Liberty Mutual customizes your auto and home insurance so you only pay for what you need. Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Getting a speeding ticket can ruin your day. But what about that cyclist or the pedestrian crossing the street? If you hit them while speeding, you'll do more than just ruin their days. That's why tickets are more than just a fine. They're a second chance, a reminder of what's on the line when you're behind the wheel. You won't get a do-over every time. So take this as your sign to follow the speed limit every drive. Speeding slows you down. Paid for by NHTSA.
From the Montgomery County Clerk of Court's office, I'm Shannon Crabtree. Join us for Clerk Mike Foley's award-winning Connecting with the Community Speaker Series, connecting citizens to local leaders. Join us on Tuesday, September 15th, when our most popular event returns, featuring 3 dynamic leaders leading a panel discussion on the mental health of African American males. That's Connecting with the Community from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Employment Opportunity Center in the Westtown Shopping Center on West 3rd Street in Dayton. Another example of how Clerk Mike Foley is bringing the courthouse to you.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. We carry a great in-stock selection of Hunter ceiling fans. They provide consistent comfort all year round and also help reduce energy costs. Shop Menards today and save big on Hunter ceiling fans. View our entire selection of Hunter ceiling fans today on Menards.com. Plus, check out our weekly flyer for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
The Happy Together Tour 2026, starring The Association, The Trogs, Chicago former lead singer Jason Sheff, Gary Puckett, Ron Dante of the Archies and the Turtles, The Vogues, The Cowsills. This Saturday night, Rose Music Center at the Heights. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com and the Rose Music Center box office.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
You know, I used to think all money managers were the same until I spoke with Fisher Investments.
Really? How different are they?
Fisher's investment counselors are dedicated to service, not sales, keeping clients up to date on their portfolio.
Well, they probably just invest in a bunch of mutual funds like I do.
Nope. They build a tailored portfolio based on their clients' personal goals, helping them stay on track for a comfortable retirement.
Well, they must make commissions selling products.
Actually, Fisher doesn't sell any commission-based products. They're a fiduciary, and they believe that's a conflict.
Then they have some kind of complex fee structure.
Nope. Fisher has a simple, transparent fee that's a percentage of their client's portfolio. So they do better when their clients do better. It sounds like Fisher really is different. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Fisher Investments, clearly different wealth management. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com/different. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
These young Brown skill players are fun. They are ahead of schedule in the rebuild of everything around the quarterback. Obviously, Judkins and Fannin were excellent last season. Casey Concepcion was my number one takeaway from this game. So much juice with the ball in his hands. Yeah. By the way, speaking of hands, made a tough catch, contact balance, reminded me of Jalen Waddle, who I compared him to in the pre-draft process. This has the opportunity to be a really talented young core. They really are a quarterback away. I feel that way.
Are they really a quarterback away? That's the big question. That was Mina Kimes on ESPN earlier in the week talking about the Cleveland Browns, some of their big takeaways of the Cleveland coming out of their first preseason game. You know, some teams during the preseason aren't that exciting because you're not going to get a lot of these teams who don't have a lot of competition or position battles. You know, they're not that, you look at the Bengals. I don't find your team to be very interesting during the preseason. I'm ready for week 1 through 17, right? Like that's like the big questions surrounding the Bengals. It's all big picture stuff. It's all, can this team get off to a fast start? Can Joe Burrow stay healthy? Can this team win the division? Is the defense improved enough to allow Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense to be, as effective as what we know they're capable of being? All of those things are regular season. The preseason, there's some teams I don't give a rip about. The Rams, I don't care about the Rams. I don't care about the Bengals. A lot of the playoff Super Bowl contenders like the Bengals and others, I don't care about them during the preseason. You care that they stay healthy and don't lose any major pieces and contributors. That's what you care about. The Browns, though, are interesting to me. Mina Kimes talked about their young position group players at those key positions at wide receiver, Concepcion in Boston, even the second-year guys like Harold Fannin and Quinshon Judkins. Quinshon Judkins was rolling last year, the former Buckeye, before having a season-ending injury, and the Browns' run game never looked the same after that. And the Browns had so many flaws. It's not like, they became bad because of that. But there were some wins that Cleveland had last year that were because of Quinshon Judkins. And when he went away, really their only offensive threat went away. Cleveland's interesting in the preseason because we need to see more of these guys. I need to see more of the receivers. I need to see more of Shedeur Sanders. Deshaun's a veteran. Need to see more of him. And it's interesting hearing the feedback on Deshaun Watson. And I feel like after all these years, I still have to put the disclaimer out. Yes, I know. Scummy human. Scummy mistakes. I'm not okay with it, not signing off on it. But he's playing, and you have to talk about what the team looks like with him on it. And we got to see him make a start. I don't think it was even close between him and Shedeur. This idea that Cleveland is trying that has it out for Shedeur, that is not setting him up to succeed. Keep in mind, every team in football passed on him 5 times. Cleveland finally gave him a shot to be on an NFL roster in the 5th round of the draft 2 years ago. And yet the only team in the NFL that was willing to give him a shot, that's the team that has it out for him. Maybe Shedeur is just not good. Maybe Shedeur has skill, but just isn't a good NFL quarterback. It's as simple as that. I thought throughout the offseason, man, I can't wait for camp and for preseason and for games to get here, to see Shedeur play in a separate offense with the coach that truly believes in him. I don't think it's that Stefanski was coaching for his job last year. Stefanski was never keeping the better quarterback on the bench. I do think he was better than Dylan Gabriel, but that's besides the point. I just don't think Shedeur's that good. This is the second coaching staff that has, had him in the NFL in 2 years, and they're even telling you, we don't think he's it. Not getting a lot of first-team opportunities during practice and camp, not getting any opportunities with the ones in preseason game 1. He'll get the full go of it in their game this weekend against Buffalo, but I don't know if he'll be playing with the ones. Who knows? So Cleveland's interesting for all of those reasons. They got a lot of youth on defense as well. But they've drafted really well the last 2 years. So the big question is, well, how far away, in the NFL, you could turn things around quick. Mina Kimes saying that the Cleveland Browns are a quarterback away. I agree with that, assuming that Boston and Concepcion are legit. And I don't mean, oh my God, they're, that's your T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. They're not going to be that. Okay. The Browns don't have a Jamar Chase, but to be fair, there's only a handful of teams in the league that have a Jamar Chase-esque player. Actually, no team in the NFL other than the Bengals have a Jamar Chase-esque player. He's the best receiver in football. But my point is, there's not a lot of teams in football that have that type of separator, that type of wide receiver. You have obviously your Justin Jeffersons and your Jamar Chases of the world, but there's a lot of teams that are just looking to build a solid wide receiver room and have a well-balanced team. That's my big criticism of the Bengals. Like Joe Burrow, we know is elite. Jamar and T are elite, but they're almost too top-heavy when it comes to skill players. They're not a balanced team. Now, maybe the addition, not maybe, I do think this is a more balanced team than in seasons past with Dexter Lawrence and adding the guys that they did in the offseason, at safety and when it comes to the pass rush and just getting veteran pieces on there. The Bengals' key to success has to be about them being balanced. And that's the same thing for Cleveland. I think Cleveland's balanced. I think that the secondary is very good. Linebacker play is good. They're very good up front defensively. O-line improved. How much improved? We'll find out when the season gets here, but we know they could run the football and their playmakers are improved. So, yes, I think they're a quarterback away from being a playoff contender, a wild card contender. They're not going to beat out Cincinnati for the division. A healthy Joe Burrow-led Cincinnati Bengals, they're not going to do that. But I think they could flirt with the bottom of the wild card. I just don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think this is a 7 to 9 win team, 9 being obviously the best. But 9 wins is not good enough to make the playoffs. It's just not. So, but 9 wins, you're definitely going to feel pretty damn good about this team heading into next season. But again, how does all the young talent and pieces that they drafted over the last 2 years, how has that panned out? Are the Browns a QB away? Ron Howard says maybe a coach away. I'm giving Todd Monken a chance. I wasn't a fan of the hire at the beginning, but I think his personality fits Cleveland. I think he handles the media well. Cleveland media is a lot different than Cincinnati NFL media. It's funny how, drastically different. I actually think that Cincinnati media, and you guys, whoever hears this, if they hear it, they could take it as an insult if they want. I don't know really what to make of this. I think media has changed in the last 5, 6, 7 years, really. But I think that the media that covers the Bengals is too fanboyish. I see the way people rip Ben Baby and others, Ben Baby and Kelsey and others who follow this team and cover this team. People constantly rip them because like, if they hate this team so much, why are they even covering this team? And I'm like, but that's the thing. They're not supposed to love the team either. You're not supposed to hate the team. You're not supposed to love the team. You're supposed to cover the team. And that's where we're starting to get a little bit of a loss of what media's job truly is nowadays when it comes to beat reporters. Like, the Bengals have fanboy and fangirl beat reporters all over the place, except for Baby and Kelsey Conway, right? Cleveland, their media gets ripped all the time because they hate Cleveland. They think they think Mary Kay Cabot, they think that, Rizzo, they think all those guys over there, they think they all hate Cleveland. So it's drastically different with the media coverage as far as that's concerned. So I always find that fascinating at the end of the day. But is Cleveland a quarterback away? Yeah, yes. And, I think Todd Monken, I think he could be the guy. I think that the team's going to respond to him. I think that Kevin Stefanski's approach was just so dry, so vanilla that I don't know how he motivated anyone to want to run through a brick wall. But he did for a period of time, multiple playoff appearances. Hell, it's tough to get Cleveland to a single playoff appearance, and he did it multiple times. So with multiple quarterbacks, and multiple quarterbacks had success in his offense, but his offense was horrific the last 2 years. Not sure what the disconnect was, but it doesn't look like it's going great in Atlanta. There's a lot of negative reporting coming out of Atlanta and the flow of that offense over there. So Todd Monken, I'm willing to give him a shot. Quarterback-wise, I think they are a QB away. I just don't think that QB is on this roster right now. Troy's on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. He said, I think the Browns are a quarterback away. Troy, quarterback away from what? For me, I'm saying a quarterback away from playoff contention. They're not a QB away right now from a division title. They're not a QB away from a Super Bowl or anything like that right now. But I think as of right now, with the way this roster is, if they get solid QB play, it's a 9-win team flirting with the playoffs, maybe 10. But I just don't think that QB exists on this roster. 937-518-1410. Let's go to the phone lines. We got Jesse. Jesse, it's been a while, sir. How are you? Welcome.
I'm doing good, man. How you doing today?
Another day in paradise. Another day in paradise.
I've been being nice to you lately since you give me all these free tickets and stuff, but you got me riled up today, so I got some questions I need answered here.
Oh, man, I've been nice today. What have I done?
No, I thought you've been nice to me over the last couple of years with all the tickets, but some of the things you said today, they're gonna need some questions answered.
No, today, like I'm saying, like today, what have I said today? I feel like I've been nice today. I haven't been critical. What have I been critical of?
No, I didn't say all that. You heard that wrong. Okay, for what you said, for one, is that the two quarterbacks that you saw in one preseason game for the Browns are better than DK Metcalf and Pittman. I mean, is that serious? I mean,
I'm not a fan of Metcalf or Pittman. I'm not a fan of either.
But you take one preseason game. If a Bengals fan saw one preseason game and loved somebody, you'd eat them alive. Like, there's no way that you can take that after one preseason game. And if you took that from one preseason game and the quarterback away thing, I thought Deshaun Watson looked kind of promising. If you're going to go to the quarterback away thing and judge these wide receivers that you've never seen, that they're going to be better than Pittman and Metcalf, I thought Deshaun Watson looked okay.
Oh, I think Deshaun Watson looked okay, but like, again, that was me not overreacting to a preseason game, in my opinion. And to be fair about the wide receiver comment, like DK Metcalf, I really like, but I think the wide receiver room as a whole for Pittsburgh is horrendous. I think it's a horrendous wide receiver room. They have a better option at wide receiver with, of course, obviously DK Metcalf, but I think the Browns wide receiver room as a whole, collectively, I think is actually deeper. I just don't think it's, you know what I mean? I know what you're saying because it sounds weird. I could see how you heard what I said and say that. I still think I would take, with as far as anticipation is what these guys are supposed to be, I think I would take Cleveland's wide receiver room right now over Pittsburgh's. But on paper, yes, I get why you're saying Pittsburgh looks better on paper right now.
I would think a more accurate statement than a quarterback away would be a year away. I think that would be a more accurate statement than a quarterback away. With all the young people you got, after one preseason game, you don't know. I mean, you really don't know. Like, I've seen, John Ross, have a good preseason game, and and what happened to that?
Fastest man alive, John Ross.
Darn right he was. Fastest man out of the league, too.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. I mean, I remember back in the day when we were talking about a foot race between him and Billy Hamilton. I mean, talk about two underperformers right there. There you go.
Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate you filling in for Kev Nash the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah. As soon as
job.
Kev Nash comes back, I'm out of here, man.
Yeah, I think you might have a future in this business.
It's been 10 years, and I'm still trying to find a future in this business. So there you go. Take care, man.
All right, Jeff. Have a good one, bud.
937-518-1410. So Jesse just called in, and again, Mina Kimes on ESPN saying the Browns are a quarterback away, and then she redacted that and put out on Twitter. And again, it makes no sense to me. Mina Kimes, after saying that the Browns are a quarterback away, she has to re-clarify and say, to be clear, I don't mean they're a quarterback away from immediate contention. I don't know what the hell that means then. Because that's what if I say the Browns are a quarterback away with this young talent, if you drop a Josh Allen with these wide receivers, offensive line and a running back and defense, this Browns team they're contenders, right? Like like division contenders. I don't know about Super Bowl contenders, but they're division contenders. Joe Burrow makes this team a division contender. So yes, to me, this team is a wide receiver away. So to say that, they're not a quarterback away from immediate contention, I don't know what the hell that means. Great secondary, great linebackers, solid up front defensively, much improved offensive line. Okay. And I do really like former All-Pros on that offensive line that they went out and got in the offseason. They got some of the better options in free agency. And yes, Harold Finnan Jr., great tight end. You go and get 2 first-round graded wide receivers with your first couple of picks, along with the best offensive lineman in the draft. So yeah, why not? This team is a QB away. There's no need to redact that if you're Mina Kimes. And to bring up Deshaun, I did not want to overreact to Deshaun, but I thought he looked much improved. I just didn't want to overreact to a preseason game. I thought he got the ball out of his hands quickly. I thought he looked more in control of the offense. I thought the offense looked much smoother. They did move the ball up and down the field when he was out there for the few possessions he was there. So we'll see how that carries over into the start of the season. But, you look at Cleveland and you look at their schedule. All right. It's not – I mean, you're at Jacksonville to start. Jacksonville, playoff team, playoff contender. You're at Tampa. That's an 0-2 start. All right. Panthers are a sneaky good team. That's a team that I overlooked a lot last year, and then they looked really good in the playoffs too. So that could be an 0-3 start. Pittsburgh, you can never count out Pittsburgh, right? Like that could be an 0-4 start. The Browns could potentially start out 0-4. Right? And I still think this is a 7-9 win team. But I look at the start, and Deshaun, you don't have a wiggle room window to get acclimated again. And Shador, we're going to see him in preseason game number 2 this weekend, get the full start. But if he's getting this full start, but he doesn't have the starters around him, I kind of think that defeats the purpose. So who knows what we're going to see this upcoming weekend, preseason week number 2. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun food, sports, and spirits. Throughout the rest of the show, we'll be taking a look at the upcoming schedule for various conferences throughout the Miami Valley with high school football coming up, the GCL, Greater Catholic League, co-ed, of course. We'll talk about the Miami Valley League, the GWAC. We'll have our ESPN Dayton Game of the Week tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in the Battle of Kettering. So we'll take a look at some of the top matchups in high school football coming up this weekend. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. More when we return.
What defines Ohio? A place that dares to go first and never looks back. There's no slowing us down. At Jobs Ohio, our mission is clear. Strengthen job opportunities and empower Ohio's workforce. Another reason why Ohio is now ranked the #1 state for business by CNBC. This is what unstoppable feels like. We did it together, Ohio. Our time is now. See Ohio's momentum at jobsohio.com/Ohio's time.
Nobody builds a business without hearing a few reasons it won't work. Too risky, too crowded, too ambitious. But the people who move things forward usually hear those words first. Because growing a business takes more than optimism. It takes nerve, and eventually, a partner built for what's next. That's Next Rodeo. Big thinking, proven creative. For businesses still moving forward. Next Rodeo. The difference between the business you have and the business you want. Meet us at thenextrodeo.com.
Hey, Cordell Transportation is now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers, excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply right now, online at CordellTransportation.com. Do it right now. Driven to succeed.
Old English Outfitters is a one-stop shop for all your firearms, archery, hunting, and accessory needs, as well as repairs with a full-time staff gunsmith. 480 Ginghamsburg Road, Tip City.
This getting a speeding
Let's
ticket
be
can
real.
ruin your day.
The odds of a high school
What about
athlete
that
getting a
cyclist? Or the pedestrian crossing the street. If you hit them while speeding, you'll do more than just ruin their days. That's why tickets are more than just a fine. They're a second chance. A reminder of what's on the line when you're behind the wheel. You won't get a do-over every time. So take this as your sign to follow the speed limit every drive. Speeding slows you down. Paid for by NHTSA.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show. Week 1 of the high school football season is officially here. And, we'll take a look at the upcoming Week 1 schedule out of the Greater Western Ohio Conference. The big one that we'll have for you right here on 1410 ESPN Radio, the Battle of Kettering, Alter, and Fairmont. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Josh Copeland and Adam Campbell will be on the call for that one tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Beaver Creek will welcome in Xenia for their Week 1 showdown. Wayne will be at Fairfield. Wayne's non-conference to start, if that's what you want to call it, is unbelievable. I mean, St. X and St. Edwards both at home over the next couple of weeks, opening up at Fairfield. Very tough start for Wayne. It'll be interesting to see what their record looks like before turning their attention towards all GWAC play, after a couple of weeks. Centerville will be at Lakota East. Lebanon will welcome in Northmont. CJ at Miamisburg. That's one of the Week 1 matchups I'm most intrigued by out of the GWAC. Springboro will welcome in Mason. And how about Springfield? Mo Douglas and company welcoming in Whitten Woods. That's your Week 1 schedule out of the GWAC. We'll take a look at some of the other conferences throughout the remainder of the program. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Hour number 2 coming up next.
Honey, did you hear the auction at Brown's Nursery's coming up?
We need a shade tree and some shrubs. I think we should go.
There's not a better time to buy. Brown's auction is a great way to save money. It's only once a year. Let's do it.
Great.
When is it?
It's Saturday, September 12th. It's always the second Saturday in September.
A. Brown & Sons has great high-quality products. I'm excited.
Don't miss the annual stock reduction auction of high-quality nursery stock at A. Brown & Sons Nursery. Save hundreds, even thousands of dollars. The auction starts promptly at 7:19 a.m. on Saturday, September 12th, rain or shine. Come out and bid anytime during the day. 4 auction rings run all day. Brown's has a huge inventory of shade trees, shrubs, evergreens, ornamentals, and perennials. They're easy to find, just a half-mile north of Phillipsburg on State Route 49, 4 miles north of I-70, exit 24. Visit brownsnursery.com and click on the auction link for all the details.
Are you ready to make a difference for the environment while helping the visually impaired at the same time? Then donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind today by calling 1-800-983-6530. Every donated vehicle will either be properly recycled in an eco-friendly manner or given a new life through reuse. Donating your vehicle is easy. Simply call 1-800-983-6530 and Heritage for the Blind will do the rest. They'll even arrange for your vehicle to be picked up at no cost to you. And for a limited time, when you donate your car, you'll receive a $200 restaurant voucher and a 2-night, 3-day hotel stay at one of 50 locations. Call 1-800-983-6530 right now to schedule your vehicle donation and make a positive impact on the environment while helping others. Heritage for the Blind, where every car donation counts and every person makes a difference. Call 1-800-983-6530 now. This advertisement is paid for by Heritage for the Blind.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $3 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Dayton's radio home for Buckeyes football. 1410 WING. Dayton's ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, hour number 2. It's 4 o'clock here in the Miami Valley. The Justin Kinner Show, presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. We are Dayton's radio home for Reds baseball. The Reds back in action tonight, 6:40 the first pitch. 6:10 pregame coverage will begin, and we'll have all that for you coming up here later on this evening. Chase Burns will be making the appearance. Will be stepping foot on the mound here tonight. Again, the Reds 60-66 on the season, and right now I think we're witnessing the tailspin. This is the end. I think everyone had anticipated that when the Reds season started to really spiral out of control, that it was going to start here in a few weeks in the beginning of September. If you take a look at the beginning of the September schedule, the Reds have 3 at home against Milwaukee, all right, on September 4th, 5th, and 6th. 7th, 8th, and 9th, they'll be at the Dodgers. Then they'll be at Milwaukee, the 11th, 12th, and 13th. And then they'll have 4 with the Dodgers, 4 with the 3 with the Cubs, and 3 with Atlanta. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone thought that the tailspin of the season was going to really come in September. I think it's starting now. And I think if you go back over the weekend, when the Reds had a huge lead, I shouldn't say a huge lead, but they had a big lead. They get the game 1 win against Miami, a 1-0 shutout win. And that was a win that, ironically enough, Chase Burns was on the mound for, who's on the mound tonight. And Chase Burns is on the mound. Great outing from him. He improves to 14-2 on the season. All the Reds do is win when he's on the mound, right? And the offense just was not there that night. But because the great pitching performance from Burns, the bullpen stepped up and got some big innings and held Miami to a shutout. The Reds only were able to muster up 1 run, but it was a 1-0 win. It was like, okay, again, the Reds were winning a lot of series coming out of the break. And, even though they got swept by Washington, they were able to beat Chicago, the White Sox coming right after that. And then to take that game 1 against the Marlins, it was like, okay, maybe they were able to get off the mat a bit. And then in game 2, They have a big lead early, right? Like they're in control of that. The Reds have a 4-2 lead heading late into that game, and then they give up 4 runs in the 8th inning, 1 more in the 9th, and they lose 8-4. And there was a lot of reports coming out after that game that it was a different vibe in the clubhouse, that the Reds were just defeated, okay? Not just defeated score-wise, but nobody in the clubhouse was talking. The tones of everybody, it felt as if this team had just faced the realization of, yeah, we like they've given up. And when I heard those reports come out, I'm like, oh boy, that ain't good. It's about to be, this is that slow click on the roller coaster where you're like click, 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 click. You're going up, and you just have that anticipation, that nervousness of that gut-wrenching feeling of on the huge drop on a roller coaster. That's what I felt happened over the weekend with that Game 2 loss against Miami, because right after that, they lose 7-1. They lose Game 1 against the Cardinals. They lose the series again. Well, technically they go for the split tonight, but they've lost 2 of the first 3. And we'll see if they can get a win with Chase Burns on the mound tonight. But yeah, I do feel like the Reds, they're done. They're done. There's no life left in this team right now. The vibe is gone. When those reports came out, they're 7-8. Remember, they were 8 games out of the wild card spot when the second half of the season started. They won 5 of their first 6 series. Coming out of the All-Star break. In fact, it was enough to convince management not to move on from any of their I shouldn't say major, but of their limited key contributors, because they felt like, we're not going to give up any assets to go add to this team, but this team's hot right now. Let's ride this wave. It had been at the time the most healthy that the Reds had been all season, with Hunter Green at the time. But I think when you add in the fact that Hunter Green out for this season and all of next season, and you look at that devastating loss against Miami, it just seemed like the Reds had said, okay, enough. We have fought tooth and nail for a year and a half now, all last year. I mean, that's what made them so great and special last year, was the fact that they just never gave up. They continued to fight, 6 games back in the month of September, and ultimately came back to make the playoffs. But this team just doesn't seem to have that right now. They seem defeated. They seem out of it, and it's only going to get tougher from here. They're 7.5 games out of the wild card. All right. They had climbed to within 4.5 games very quickly. They were 8 games out of the wild card at the All-Star break. They had climbed to within 4.5. They were hot, and the wheels have turned up. I do think the Hunter Green injury was devastating to the morale of that clubhouse. And then after that, it was like, okay, let's keep fighting. And then that blow-up loss against Miami in Game 2, when that would have been a huge series win right there, then you get swept by the Nationals. It's just this team, they're done. They're officially done as far as that's concerned. But they still have a lot of baseball left to be played. And I'm just very curious to see what goes on for me. Here's what I'm kind of thinking, is curious about. Like, this was my concern. Like, when you think about the Hall of Fame legendary career that Terry Francona has had, where he has won absolutely everywhere he has gone. And technically you could say he's won here. He led the Reds to the playoffs last year. But like, this very well could be the end of Terry Francona, and not being fired. I think that the Reds will have Terry Francona around as long as, he'll want to be here. I think with a lockout looming, I think that we are entering the final month and some change of Terry Francona as a manager of the Reds and in baseball. I do think that the plan, the vibe I got at Reds Fest, and the vibe I get with talking to Reds reporters, I think Napoli is going to be the Reds' next manager. He played for Terry Francona. He's on the staff right now. Actually enjoyed my conversation with him when we were at Reds Fest. Had a nice sit down with him. I think that, he fits the younger mold of what managers look like in baseball right now. So I think Napoli is going to be the next Reds manager. And there's no reports out there of this, by the way. This is just a vibe and given my opinion. That's the unfortunate part about this lockout that's coming up, is that we should be talking about the Reds, finally having a wake-up call and going all in this upcoming offseason, and they can't do it. Every time the Reds have been in a position to be aggressive, and again, I'm not saying this to defend the front office. I'm saying this acknowledging the limitations of the front office, right? Think about it. Think back to 2019, when the Reds had one of the more exciting runs of front office activity that I can remember in quite some time. Think about it. Remember, they go and they get Sonny Gray. They traded at the deadline of that 18 season or that 19 season. They went out and got Trevor Bauer, right? And then that same offseason, that offseason after that, They go out and they get, Mike Moustakas, which again, that was still a good get. That you needed a good third baseman. He was one of the best third baseman free agents at the time. It didn't work out, but it was a good get. You go and you get, obviously, you look at the Castellanos, who they got, like they got Wade Miley. It was an aggressive stretch for that front office where they were spending money. They were adding pieces to complement the likes of Jesse Winker, adding the likes to, to feed in and fit in with, of course, Luis Castillo, Sonny Gray, Trevor Bauer. That was a hell of a rotation. They had good bullpen pieces, right? They had guys that they felt that were good enough to compete in that lineup and everything. And then COVID happens and never really got to see that roster breathe a little bit, and it fizzled out. You finally have a young core with Sal Stewart and Ellie De La Cruz and Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo and Chase Burns. And it's like, okay, let's see what this team does to go spend. But they've been reluctant to spend money because of the looming lockout that's coming. And you guys could get mad at the Reds all you want for this. I think it's kind of smart of the Reds on this. I think they want to be smart with their money, because I think if baseball forces the Reds, if they add a floor and they tell the Reds that you have to spend 150 to 170 mil per season, I would rather be on the low end of that scale so that you have like a blank canvas to paint with. You see what I mean? Like if you start throwing out money left and right to some of these guys right now, it's one of those where, why don't you wait and see what the landscape's going to be? So what I mean by all this is the Reds have an opportunity with Terry Francona and Ellie De La Cruz and Chase Burns and Sal Stewart to be aggressive and go, put veteran pieces around. They just can't do it because they don't know what the landscape is going to look like in baseball. It happened in 20 with COVID after the aggressive offseason that they had. They have an aggressive core right now that they could be aggressive with, and they can't do it because you don't know what the future of baseball is going to look like. I don't think a salary cap impacts the Reds one way or another. A salary floor does. And I think that if a salary floor is implemented, what you're going to want as the Reds is, wouldn't you want to have $60 million that you are being forced to spend and go out and be aggressive in an offseason instead of throwing about a ton of money right now and then being told you only have $30 million to go? That's still a lot of money. I think with all the uncertainty, it's just another weird blip on the baseball calendar radar that has gotten in the way of the Reds front office. It's just been a series of unfortunate events. The Reds are not good enough to overcome some of those things. They weren't good enough to overcome the COVID situation. They're not good enough to overcome this upcoming lockout. And I think it's devastating. I think you lose you already know you're without Hunter Green for all of next year, but you're going to lose an entire year of Ellie De La Cruz, an entire year of Sal Stewart. What I don't know about, and I'm admitting this, I don't know how baseball works. I don't know, like next year counts towards the length of your contract, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's an entire calendar year where you don't have Ellie, you don't have Sal, you don't have Chase Burns, it's just a wasted year. So I don't know. I don't know. It's unfortunate. And I think it's not just the Reds. I think a lot of teams are operating with a lot of uncertainty. But who knows what's going to happen. But it does stink too, because we're heading in. This has been a gut-punching season. There was excitement and expectations coming into the season, and they did not even come close to living up to that. And now we got to take that pain into an offseason where nothing's going to happen. So there's going to be no moves that the Reds make that we talk about or get excited about, because there's going to be no moves that are made for a season that's not going to happen. And then we got to wait until next year at this time to gear up for moves for 2029, technically, or 28. Wait, how's that going to work? So yeah, 27. Yeah, so for 28. So this is bad for baseball. It's bad for the Reds. It's bad for us fans. And it would have just been nice to have this team really send us out. If we're going to be a year and some change without baseball, it would have been nice to send us out into the lockout with just some feel-good moments. And I don't think that there's any feel-good moments. Even the peaks about this team are bad. Think about it. Ellie De La Cruz is Ellie De La Cruz, but he's just a reminder of, oh yeah, he's going to be leaving soon. Sal Stewart, as great as he's been, he's a reminder of, oh yeah, this front office hasn't even engaged him in any conversations about an extension. Right? You have Hunter Green, great piece, can't stay healthy, gets hurt sneezing. Out for all of this year, out for all of next year. He has yet to have one season where he has not spent at least 1 month on the IL. even the pieces that you're the most excited about bring pain to you because they just remind you of something bad. Ellie reminds you of, oh yeah, we're not going to be able to keep him. Sal Stewart reminds us of the boneheaded front office that hasn't even engaged in contract extension talks with him. Hunter Green reminds us of, oh, what could have been if he could just stay healthy, but he can't stay healthy. Nick Lodolo, blisters, out constantly, whatever. Chase Burns, they did get a nice deal on him. Yes, and he's on the mound tonight, but he's like the only feel-good piece about this team. There's a lot of talent and everything, but they're just constant reminders of how inept the Reds are as an organization at the time. So Joey Votto was on MLB Network, and Joey Votto says a lot. I mean, he's a fun guy. He didn't used to be fun. Joey Votto, I mean, there was a lot of reports about how fans found him unapproachable. There's so many stories about how rude he was to fans early on in his career. And, you know, he just, I don't know, he had a dull, dry personality. Now I think he's one of the most entertaining baseball personalities out there. And a lot of you got on to me about my Joey Votto take for years. Like years ago, I said, my problem with Joey Votto is that he did not request a trade and demand out of Cincinnati. You know, it's not that I wanted Joey Votto gone, but what I wanted was for Joey Votto to show some kind of frustration and be pissed off that the front office just was not making aggressive moves to win with him on the roster. I said it almost seemed like he was content with making his $25 million a year, and whatever happens on the baseball field happens on the baseball field. And that drove me nuts, right? And I don't think I'm wrong in saying that. And you guys could say, oh, well, that's baseball. Well, that drives me nuts about baseball. It doesn't matter. It ticks me off. You know, there's all this talk with the Bengals about, man, if the Bengals don't start winning, Joe Burrow is going to force himself out of Cincinnati, as he should. I have no problem when stars aren't winning somewhere and that they're doing their part, but the front office and the organization is not doing theirs. I have no problem with an athlete saying, yeah, I'm doing my part. You're not doing yours. I want out of here. I respect that. Because if you in your everyday life, if you're working your ass off, but you don't feel respected and you don't feel like your company is giving you the resources you need to succeed, you would leave. So I don't understand people who are miserable at their job and hate their job, but just stay there because, well, I'm being paid a lot. And people do that a lot. I don't like that. I don't agree with that. I want my athletes to have the desire to win just as much as I have the desire for my team to win. Joey Votto. So I had that take for years. People, my guy Elliot over at Chatterbox back in the day, like we would always get into it about that. But the bottom line is Joey Votto, from an entertainment perspective, I think he's phenomenal in the TV role. In fact, I said what baseball does not have. Baseball does not have a Charles Barkley. You know what I mean? Like baseball, like football has a lot of entertaining media faces. To kind of carry it, right? Like they have a lot of different personalities, former NFL guys that are very entertaining, that you care about what they have to say. You're invested in what they have to say. In the NBA, it's the same thing. You have your Charles Barkleys and your Shaqs, and the NFL, you have that. Who are those personalities in MLB media that you're like, oh man, that guy, he makes me want to, anything he said, I can listen to him talk baseball for hours. I don't think baseball has a lot of those guys. One of those guys to me is Joey Votto. Ron Howard, yes, Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is one of those. Chad Kinster says you also got to respect loyalty. No, I don't. I don't got to respect loyalty. I don't. I mean, Joey Votto, was he like? Yes, you could say that, but I think he was hiding behind that. I don't think Joey Votto had a competitive bone in his body. When you had the ownership of the Reds come out and say, "Where are you going to go?" and Joey Votto, the next time you saw him on TV, he was wearing a kilt and just joking off. I'm like, what are we doing here? I was like, Reds fans are pissed off, and you seem perfectly content with the ownership group mocking Reds fans. You're the one that actually has a voice. You're the face of the Reds. Why aren't you upset and frustrated about this? That's the problem I had. I don't, it's not a loyalty thing to me. He was content. Just my opinion. To go back to this though, Joey Votto, the personality from a TV perspective, I think he brings that Peyton Manning-esque type of personality that the NFL has, that Charles Barkley has for the NBA. I always thought that if Pete Rose could have just stayed in the headlines for positive reasons and wasn't banned from baseball, I always thought Pete Rose would have been the Charles Barkley of baseball when it came to media. You know what I mean? Like every time Pete got any kind of TV time or interview time, his stuff went viral constantly because he was so fascinating and you hung on every word that he said when it came to talking baseball. It's the same thing with Chuck and basketball. I mean, half the time people get mad because Charles Barkley doesn't actually truly watch all these college games, but yet he goes more viral than you have the nerd guys that watch every college basketball game and their stuff doesn't take off, but Charles Barkley does. That's how powerful of a personality Barkley is. It's the same thing would have been the same thing with, of course, Pete Rose. And I think Joey Votto has that same type of presence. Case in point, he was talking on MLB Network about, would he ever have an interest in being a manager, in being a hitting coach? Would he be interested in a front office role? His answer had everybody talking.
No, I don't. Thank you for the offer. That's very kind. And anytime you're wanted, it's an honor. But I get to do this. I get to come here and hang out, and no, I'm just not motivated to hop on a plane and head all over the country. And most importantly, to serve the hitter, you have to spend time in the minor leagues.
Okay. Oh, you'd want to be an apprenticeship and work your way up.
Yeah.
How about front office? If they want, a lot of guys dabble in the front office who are former players, and then you can pick your spots.
Yeah. If they want to give me the Reds job, I'll take it.
You mean running the club?
Yeah. Just give me the GM. I'll take it.
All right. There we go. We'll make news.
Was that Joey Votto? I think that's just him being kind of goofy, right? I think he's kind of joking. I don't think my guess is, he's Nick Krall has been around a while. He's president of baseball operations, of course. Brad Meter is technically the GM for the Reds. But if you're the Reds and you hear this and you're interested in making a GM change, which I don't think that they are, which is argument for a different day, do you throw Joey Votto the GM job? I don't know if I want Joey Votto to be the GM. The only reason you guys would be comfortable with Joey Votto being the GM is because you're comfortable with the name. I don't care about the name. I care about your ability. No one knows Brad Meter. All right. Nobody knew. The only reason you talk about Nick Krall is because of all the things that have gone wrong in Cincinnati. You don't need to know the name. You just need to know the results. And the results haven't been there. And they're just because Joey Votto is one of the best Reds players of all time doesn't mean he'll be a good GM. So I don't know. I'm not, for those who actually heard this and thought, oh man, Joey Votto, I love him as the Reds GM. Why? Joey Votto with his baseball mind is going to go sit down with Nick Krall, the president of baseball operations, and he's going to sit with all the other faces in the room that are part of the front office for the Reds. And whoever the GM is going to be told, you have to operate this way. You have to operate with this limited budget. You have to look for guys that do this. This is why it's hard to really gauge the success of anyone in a baseball position, because the way you operate is being forced upon you. The organization wants you to get these types of analytical players. Don't go get the best players. Go get the analytical players that we're looking for. That's tough to do, right? And to go get the best players that have that analytical pull, they're expensive. Guess what the Reds don't spend a lot of? Money. So it's a tough juggling act. I don't think Joey Votto was actually being serious about that, but a lot of people jumped on it and thought, I would love it. Stop it. There's no proof that Joey Votto would be a good GM. I actually would love Joey Votto to go. Look, Barry Larkin is all-time Reds great. I thought it was so cool seeing the work that he did with the Dragons during his time, right? When you look at a lot of the former Reds greats that spent time in the minor leagues trying to work their way up. Hell, Barry Larkin made a lot of noise years ago because he was letting it be known he wanted to manage the Reds, and it was leading to some issues. I do think the Reds want Barry Larkin involved with the franchise in some capacity. And I think that they loved having Barry Larkin be involved in the minor league system. And I think that there was some vision of him being the Reds manager at some point. I think the one reason why he is on TV is because the Reds want to keep him involved with the franchise in some capacity. So they're kind of hiding him over here because he was making a lot of noise chirping about wanting to be the manager. But he did his time in the minor. You heard Joey Votto say, to come up, you need to work with these guys in the minors. Technically, he's done that. Not Joey Votto, but Barry Larkin has. But yeah, I think Joey Votto would be phenomenal as a manager. I think he would be phenomenal as a hitting coach. I think he'd be phenomenal in passing that off. But you heard him say to do that, you would have to be flying all over the country for 6 months, 7, 8 months of the year. It's a lot of time to dedicate. He retired from baseball for a reason. And I think the grind of just the travel and the everyday stuff, so he's not going to be a GM. He's not going to be a manager, not going to be a hitting coach. I think he's going to be an MLB analyst, and I think that's actually what he is the absolute best at. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of Joey Votto in any kind of broadcasting capacity when it comes to whether it's the Reds or MLB across the board. I would love to see him be a part of the Reds broadcast network in some capacity, but I think his talents are going to be suited for MLB Network, Fox broadcasts, this, that, and the other. So who knows? 937-518-1410. It's the Justin Kinner Show, presented by Frickers. Chad Kinser says, hitting coach only, walk before you crawl. Yeah, learn to walk so you don't end up like Nick Kroll. That's what you should have said, Chad. Chad says, walk before you crawl. He should be a hitting coach only to start. I agree. You don't want to be, if you're not ready, that's how you end up like Nick Kroll, I guess. I don't know. Bad humor. Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.